All right, so good evening, everybody from India. Bom dia, good morning, everybody from Brazil. It's a great pleasure to be here today to introduce and to present our speakers of the day. So I will present a little bit the purpose of this webinar. So we are going to talk a little bit about the lotus flower that represents the overcoming because it has roots based on the mood of the lakes and rivers. The lotus rises to bloom with remarkable beauty. In this webinar, experts around the world in the areas of administration, engineering, psychology, and philosophy will present innovative ideas to show what can emerge after the crisis and the chaos caused by the pandemic. So our purpose today is to listen all the remarkable speakers that we have here presenting and showing us some solutions that we can use, that we can do after the pandemic. So I would like to present our first speaker of the day. It's an honor to have him here. He is Professor Dr. B. Balaji. He is a visionary resource facilitator and acclaimed global trainer. His expertise spans both corporate and academic, backed by scholastic achievements. He is graduated in electronics and communication engineering with master's in business administration as well as corporate secretaryship. His doctoral research pertained to service quality gaps. He was awarded the gold medal in MBA program. He has also received several awards and commendation at the school and college levels in performing arts, literary events, and social service. He served the corporate and senior management positions in telecom and apparel sectors. He has held academic positions of director and dean for more than a decade and has about 3 decades of academic experience. He is an author of 15 books in various management disciplines and has published 70 papers, including several Scopus indexed Web of Science papers. He is an active, one second, please. He is an active trainer in corporate and academic, and is the founder and CEO of Special Minds. It's with a great pleasure and it's a great honor to have you here, Dr. Balaji. The floor is yours.
Hola, bom dia.
Bom dia.
Eu sou Balaji. Obrigado por me convidar de India. Hello, I'm Balaji, and thank you very much for inviting me from India. I shall now share my screen and get on with my presentation. Can I share my screen now?
You can, Dr. Balaji, it's ready.
Okay. All right, so let me begin my presentation. I'll just probably reduce the video screen so that I can see better. All right, we are in the middle of a pandemic, popularly known as the novel coronavirus or COVID-19. This pandemic does not need any introduction or any details. All of you are very well aware of this pandemic for the last 2 years. But what has this pandemic really thrown up? And then what are we going to do about it? There's been a lot of talk about the environment, the healthcare aspects, about education, about research, equity, wellness, governance, and so on. multiple people across the world have been giving various kinds of bites, but have concrete measures been taken to go beyond the pandemic? And that is what this Lotus webinar is all about. So the question remains, what are individuals as well as nations going to do through the pandemic and beyond the pandemic? So that brings me to the theme of my presentation, psychology and philosophy transcending the pandemic. Let's first commence with a broad view. I will look at different aspects. Let me start probably with the political aspect. There has been a lot of privatization. Even before the pandemic, the private sector seems to be having an upper hand in most of the countries, and to some extent, in fact, even influencing the government of the day. So this amount of rapid and mass privatization has probably left the public sector far behind. Even the departments of the government that need to take care of the well-being of its citizens seem to be lacking. Looking at the social aspect, well, many people have lost their jobs. They have perhaps been laid off, or their salaries have been cut across industries and across sectors, including educational services. So it has kind of disrupted their world. Unemployment has become a major issue, with many not knowing what to do. Perhaps they had not been skilled in multiple domains and they only had one job at hand. So now they have been left in the lurch, not knowing how to proceed further. Then comes the psychological aspects. There has been mass deaths. There have been trauma. There has been distress. And the topic of mental health has come into focus. It has been there earlier, but perhaps more so now. And people who are in quarantine for whatever reasons, for travel or for other reasons, perhaps many were not able to cope with the isolation, being put alone in a room, not knowing what to do. So the quarantine had a most negative effect, not just on mental health, but on many other aspects as well. Looking at the economic aspects, the structures of the economy have been undergoing changes. And what is happening is now all the more we find more lack of resources, not just medical resources, lack of many resources, lack of care. There's poverty, and that poverty has multiplied more, misery all around. And sometimes, even if you talk about the medical arena, many countries have not had access or perhaps inadequate access to vaccinations as well. So the economy is in a turbulence. Looking at the equity aspects, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Whatever care if the government does intend to provide is perhaps not given on an equitable basis. Therefore, there is a wide gap between the rich and the poor. And people are more bothered about their personal responsibility and only responsibility of their family or near and dear ones. What about the moral responsibility towards society as a whole? Has anybody thought this at all? Perhaps not. Selfishness has probably multiplied in the pandemic, and people are more concerned about taking care of only themselves and perhaps not the less unfortunate. The epistemological view. There have been a lot of research going on. Various strains of the virus has emerged, the Delta and so on. Nobody knows about what is the rate of transmission. We have witnessed the first wave and the second wave. Is the third wave already on, or is it yet to come? It may differ from country to country. So a lot of confusion is going on. Individuals as well as the governments are trying to be on an overcautiousness mode, perhaps overdoing certain things as well. So all these things you need to give a thought about if you need to plan the future of both the individual, the family, the organization, the society, and then the nation as a whole. So let us look at certain aspects in detail. Before the pandemic, there was too much reliance on a boardroom culture, and even in educational institutions, too much of power vested with the top hierarchy. Well, those things are changing now. We now have startups, not just startups who were connected with pandemic medical supplies, but various other startups who took the opportunity and now took a further decision to jump in cyberspace because they realized the virtual world is the world of the future. The lessons that these startups or perhaps even freelancers and individuals have taught us about is that you just don't need energy to start something. You need the energy to pursue it and to complete it. Only then it's of benefit to society as a whole. There are various countries, well, like I already said earlier, having turbulent economies. Their GDPs have been rising and falling, and some are even crashing or even going in a minus figures. That's probably because they're not taken care of their manufacturing sectors. People are so bothered about only imports and exports. They used to buy supplies from a foreign country and then probably assemble it locally. Well, those things have changed now. We now look at self-sufficiency in your own country or in the neighborhood. You did look for raw supplies, materials, or even students. That's the case of education, local customers. That's what is going to be the trend in the future. Of course, exports will continue, but then you need to look more micro level into the local communities, those surrounding your nation. Neighborhood nations can come together and help one another source materials and assemble their products or deliver their services. Yes, there have already been cartels like there are SARC and so many NATO and so on. But these are more for political reasons and for the gain of just a few countries. But then, can't the world think of more collaborations between regions in a better way, in an economic way, instead of just looking at the profit angle alone? So this kind of a psychology has to change. We need to work as a global village. We just keep mentioning the word global village, but then are we really collaborating and working together? It's $1 million question that needs to be answered. Talking about healthcare, which took the biggest hit during the pandemic. There has been a very weak primary healthcare system across the globe, and millions have not just been affected, millions have died as well. So, what has happened? Why? There has been huge shortage of medical supply, oxygen, ICU beds, ICU equipment, and more other kinds of preventive, not only equipments, medicines, and so on. So this huge gap needs to be addressed. Yes, some nations are trying to address it locally by trying to manufacture the medical supplies. But at the end of the day, the question keeps repeating to what about the vaccinations? Who is going to produce a more efficient vaccination? And therefore there has been a vaccination wars. So what is the local government needs to look into? It has to strengthen its community healthcare. In Western countries, there are community schools and colleges in their local regions, fine, but it doesn't stop there. They also need to have a community health center in every region. They need to exploit the advancements of telemedicine, remote diagnostics. That is the future. Today we have robotic surgeries. A surgeon is sitting somewhere else in the world and doing an operation in some other country. It's already on. It's not a dream anymore. You need to train your health workforce, right from the nurses, the attenders, the doctors. All that can be done using the virtual reality, augmented reality, and so on. That's the best method to teach the medical practitioners. And you perhaps need to introduce, just like a social security number, you need to introduce a health security number where all your health details will be updated. And then if any medical practitioner needs to access, of course, with your permission, can do so. However, there's always a risk of data piracy, and that will be needs to be taken care of strongly. People are trying to change nature in the name of innovation. They want to wage a war of supremacy. Earlier, they were building nuclear weapons, and now they have come to building viruses and other stuff which are of destructive nature. It's not far off. In fact, they have already been introduced. The future is going to be of automated criminals, not human beings who need to go and do the terrorist acts. Automated criminals are already being trained and have already been used once or twice so far. So what do we need to address? First of all, you need to be in sync with nature. It's not that, just a small distraction or something here and there is not going to change. No, this pandemic has been a demonstration of mass destruction, just like any other natural calamity. There has been severe flooding across the world. The global warming has been spoken at numerous conferences and conclaves across the world, but has any steps being taken? Nothing much. Very minute 10% action perhaps would have been taken. So we have volcanoes, we have massive fires, we have massive floodings across the world. So this could also be loosely connected the word pandemic, because all pandemics and epidemics all end up with mass destruction. But this pandemic, one positive thing, it has brought us to realize that along with the health of the people, it has brought back the reminder the health of the planet is also important. So if one coronavirus can destroy so many people, what would happen if there is a mass natural calamity? So it has made us relook about the psychology of the conservation of the ecosystem and the planet. And therefore, perhaps what we need to make renewed efforts is to look for how pollution can be redressed as well as contamination. Mindsets during the pandemic. A lot of people have been saying resistance to change. Like I already said, if they lost a job, they're not willing to try something else. They are stuck in their comfort zone. Slow adoption of technologies. We're trying to integrate technology into everything. But what about the penetration of the internet worldwide? Probably 30% or 33%. It varies according to countries. I'm just giving an average figure. Does everybody have access to the internet? I don't think so. Does everybody know about every upcoming technology? No. There are hundreds of technological products coming up every day, different packages, different languages, different systems. By the time you try to master one, something else comes up. So we need to speed up. We need to teach people how to better use technology. That's very important because it's going to help in different spheres, not just in healthcare, but in all other disciplines as well. We are all confused with our value systems. What do we value now? Are we more interested in materialistic possessions? Are we more interested in our relations? Are we more interested in our job? Or are we more obsessed with savings now? Probably only 30% of the world had the habit of saving. Now everybody has it. No, it has been hit on their head, the nail that you have to start saving for a rainy day. So we have very confused values. Which value to pursue? One is not sure. Everybody is in ambiguity now. Earlier, we had joint families all living together, and then it became nuclear families. But perhaps today, if I can coin the term, I'm using the word nuclear relationships. You only want to talk to one or two. Thanks to the pandemic, you only want to talk to your perhaps your own family or only your friends or perhaps only your colleagues, and then you are shut off from the rest of the world. The next generation also, even before the pandemic was shut off, they were busy with their mobiles, video games, and so on. So where are we? The population is growing, the number of gadgets are growing, but are these human beings ever going to relate to each other? Are they going to really collaborate? Just namesake, we talk about collaborations, but then just think over. Do we have even time to talk to a family nowadays? Do you even have time to say hello to them? No, you're so obsessed with your work. Therefore, the society has gone for a complete toss, and more so thanks to the pandemic. Rethink on these aspects. How do we work? We have been used to working, going to an office in a physical location. Now, suddenly we are pushed to an online world. You work from home, not just in the industrial sector, also in the service sector, including faculty. Suddenly, people have been shaken. They need to learn how to prepare their lessons, how to make videos, how to go on various platforms and try to interact with people, how to make things more interesting. Also, we are moving towards a gig economy. Tomorrow, if we take example of education itself, they may not be permanent faculty. They will be faculty for a particular subject and there will be no permanent staff in the university. That's a gig economy. It's happening in the IT sector. The same individual is earning double income by working for two different companies during the day. Of course, with different time zones and different working hours. So there's an advantage here too. Work from home gives you the advantage to do multiple tasks. You could do multiple skills. You could also run your own business. Maybe it could be beauty, it could be cosmetics, embroidery, apparel, whatever. You can do multiple jobs sitting at home. So think about those golden opportunities. What do we value? I have already mentioned this, so I will not repeat that. How do we socialize? This is the most important question on minds now. Of course, there is video call, there are platforms like Zoom and so on. But can you be sitting on meetings throughout the day? No, you cannot. And if supposing there another pandemic comes, something else comes, and you may not even be able to see your neighbor, nobody's going to open the door. And how are you going to socialize? Have you thought about that? So maybe we have to find better ways, not just technology, better ways of staying in touch. Because if you're not staying in touch with either colleagues, near dear ones, then the human body does not experience happiness. It is left with boredom, sadness. You're left in a world of isolation. Therefore, the best medicine is to keep in touch with people, interact, and work together so that you can keep the thoughts of the pandemics in the back of your mind. Three important sectors that need to be revived: the healthcare, the education, and the employment. Employment, I said already, you can take care of the gig economy. You can work for multiple tasks. You can do consultancy for multiple people. So don't waste your talents and energies. The education is, of course, it can be a public-private partnership, not the sole headache of the government alone. Everybody can contribute and also become a voluntary mentor in your community. You can go and teach in schools and colleges. You can teach adults. There's adult education also. Primary healthcare, both the government and the private sector need to collaborate on this. How do we ensure that human beings have an integration of their task with technology? There are, of course, many efforts to on integration of technologies. Many people are already doing that, definitely. But then could there be a simpler way of using a technology? Perhaps only time will tell. This biowarfare, virus warfare, there are sanctions, travel restrictions, and then There are so many cartels around the world. And it has become more profound, especially after the pandemic, because everybody wants the bigger share of the pie. So some people want to show that they are more dominant than other nations, or perhaps they are more successful than other nations. But then nations cannot work independently. Whatever research needs to be done would be more fruitful, and better productivity will only emerge when you are going in a positive direction. When research is done only for constructive needs and not for perhaps finding viruses like coronavirus. There has been a debate whether it was the market near Wuhan which started the virus or the lab in Wuhan which actually manufactured the virus. Well, nobody knows the truth and nobody will perhaps ever know even after centuries to come. So, but then this is not the only case. China is not the only case. Many countries are working on such viruses or destructive technologies and methods to gain supremacy. What about the epidemiologists, sociologists, anthropologists, biologists? Are we giving them any credit at all? Do you know the name of anybody who has achieved in medicine, who has achieved in epidemiology, who has achieved in botany, biology, ecology? Can you name at least 5% or at least 3%? You wouldn't know. You will only know the names of sports persons, celebrities, politicians, all these names you know by heart. What about these people who are working round the clock to provide better healthcare, to provide better medicines, better equipments, better methodologies towards well-being? What about these people? Therefore, the psychology needs to change. You need to celebrate work that breaks boundaries. You need to give credit to these people. The local government must bring out, put up their names, just like people appreciated the doctors alone. But doctors alone are not the medical system. There have been so many other COVID warriors as well. Do we appreciate them? Have we recognized them? Have we given them anything monetarily or non-monetarily? So this psychology needs to change. We are so obsessed only with sports, only with politicians, only with entertainment, nothing else. What about the ecosystem? The Middle East was controlling the fuel. That was, so everybody had a dependent mindset. All had to go to the Middle East for fuel. Natural resources are diminishing in many countries. The flora and fauna are becoming completely extinct. When are we going to change our mindset? When are we going to explore alternate sources of energy, solar power, wind power, and there are so many other minerals that you could use which are not diminishing? How about protecting species? Every species in this world has got some purpose. God created them in nature for some purpose to balance the ecosystem. But then this imbalance also is going to also cause catastrophes and also end in a different kind of a pandemic. Let's look at the balance. There's a positive side and a negative side. We live in a VUCA world: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. What has the pandemic thrown up? On one side, I'm talking about one side of the coin. You have a biopolitical surveillance regime. Everybody is being tracked. Everybody's movements are being watched. There is automation. Now people no more want to depend upon human beings because there have been mass deaths, mass loss of workforce. So all the more automation is being given a thrust in the future. People are terribly stressed. Of course, there are so many other illnesses. I'm just quoting one major one. This is one side of the coin. On the other side, what is there? We are moving towards a welfare nation. The governments across the world have started believing that politics alone will not count. People will be happy with the government only if it does more of welfare. So that we think the citizens are coached upon what are good values, what actually need to be valued. So this is one side of the coin. Therefore, I would call this concept as a mixed bag. There are positives that come out of the pandemic, and there are negatives as well. It's up to us what we wish to take and move forward. Are you in pursuit of happiness in your life? A lot of people have been grumbling, not just during the pandemic, even before the pandemic, and all the more now. I don't understand this logic, psychology at all. Why should you be in pursuit of happiness? It is there within you. You have the control button. Nobody can dictate when you can be happy, when you can be sad. If you decide to be happy all the time, and if you put on a smile, nobody can influence that. Just like this lady with a very beautiful smile. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Muito obrigado.
Eu só tô com um exemplo, viu? Dr. Balaji, it was really a great lecture, and Beatriz is very happy here because you used her picture. She is thanking you a lot, okay? And I would like to say that we are amazed with your lecture, with the things you said. Thanks for your wonderful insights. You really showed us a broad view about all the aspects during the pandemic, GDP, economy around the world, data, important data, and all the changes the man is trying to do with the nature, the feelings that people are having during this pandemic and these times, and everything we needed to learn with this. It was so important. Thank you a lot. Namaste.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Namaste. Thank you.
All right, let's move on. Now I would like to introduce our next speaker. That is a very special person. She's a great woman, and I could already see her making some lectures and moderating some sections, and she's wonderful. She's Dr. Alka Mahajan. She's the founder and CEO. She is from Shuparco International. She is the state president. She is Delhi Media and Communication Council. She's a country director. She's part of IIU WEC Worldwide. She's an academician, 3 decades in educational field as academic head and principal, believing in life being an endless process of learning, day to dream and dream to dare, altruistic, innovative, creative, always ready to adapt to change, step out of comfort zones, always focused on lifelong learning through visual and performing arts clubs, English expert, focus on 21st century thinking skills, authored books in English for grade 12 students, psychotherapist, international speaker, host, moderator, columnist, international tarot reader, radio and TV host. She hosted and moderated 262 international conferences. So it's a great pleasure and an honor to have you here, Alka Mahajan. Thanks for being here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Beatrice. She's a lovely friend of mine, and thank you so much for, I am always moderating sessions or being the program chair that I never ever heard myself being talked about. So I think this is the beauty of being a speaker, that at least you get to hear about yourself a little bit, because I generally am always introducing people and listening to them and doing that. So today it feels very wonderful and very different, and all thanks to, as Dr. Balaji said, to this wonderful smiling faced lady. I remember when I invited her once, I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about this for 1 minute. When I invited her, it was 2 a.m. in Brazil, but still she was there, full of smiles, way ahead of others before time, and it was a cultural show for students, they were singing and dancing, and she was there cheering them, motivating them. And believe me, she was smiling. It didn't seem at all that it was 2:30 a.m. in the middle of the night in Brazil. So, I mean, she is a wonderful human being. Thank you so much. And I couldn't ever say no to you. Thank you. And to everyone present here, it's an honor, a pleasure to be with such learned people. And Dr. Balaji, I was listening to you, amazing. And while I'll be talking, perhaps I'm going to be, taking one or two points of yours and then talking about whatever I have to say. So yes, I hope I can share my screen. Yeah, I think I can. So I'll just do it in a while. You were right that the pandemic has brought in a lot of changes. But, it's always good to keep a positive, me being a psychotherapist, I always say that, whatever we have at hand, let's try to enjoy that. Let's try to make the best of it. I know it's difficult. At times it was so difficult. There was a time when we could never, ever imagine becoming friends with people all over the globe. What to talk of friends all over the globe, even in our own country. We could not connect with people belonging to different states. But I thank God for this opportunity that the pandemic happened. And I mean, I don't want it to happen always. But the point is that we actually connected with so many people and so many friends from all over the globe. And I think that was wonderful. That really, I am the happiest person being a people's person. I made so many friends, and I am grateful to God Almighty for all the lovely human beings in my life. I mean, from different fields, so there could be scientists, doctors, engineers, IT people. And I was so scared of technology before the pandemic. We were talking about technology, but now actually we learned so much thanks to the pandemic. Of course, there have been, as Dr. Balaji very rightly pointed out, so there have been a lot of difficulties for so many of us who have lost some of our near and dear ones, our friends, our relatives. And I can just pray for all of them, but at the same time, we need to move on, and we need to learn from the lessons of the pandemic. And so that is why I will focus my talk majorly and basically on, positively yours. So I'll just share my screen. Why positively yours? I feel that, now while we're all online, we have forgotten to really look after ourselves. There are certain things that we have forgotten, and certain words that I would like to remind all of you, reiterate, in fact: self-confidence, self-belief, self-care, self-discovery, self-love. These are things that we have just forgotten. I think Dr. Balaji also pointed about a mindset. I think in our mindset, it is all about, okay, I have to do this. Now, from one webinar, I'm hopping to another one. Then I'm doing a lot of other activities, but everything is online. Everything is online. But what happens? Shouldn't we actually, in order to keep ourselves mentally healthy, mentally fit, physical fitness? Yes. But what about mental fitness? So in this time, it becomes all the more important that we also look into our mental health. So my talk is more focused on positively yours, expressed to de-stress, because as Dr. Balaji also pointed out, we have started, there was a time we were a joint family, then we became a nuclear family, but now it's just where we just talk to one or two people, maybe not even that, but that actually, upsets the equilibrium of our body, and mental health, that gets affected. So I will just share my screen. And I hope I'm able to do it. Oh, it says disabled participant screen sharing. Why does it say this? I'm not able to share my screen.
1 minute.
Yeah, thank you. So in the meantime, there are these this little two lines came to my mind. There's this little dialogue between feelings and memories. So feeling says, I couldn't control myself all because of you. Yes. To which memory says, but it was you who made me. Ultimately, it is all about training our mind, the mind games. we all know that we have two things running inside us, the devil and the angel. So the conscience, the good and the bad. And sometimes, we let the bad one, the devil in us, overpower the angel in us. And I think for that, it is very important that we learn to control our mind and not let anyone, tell us what to do. It's our life. After all, we need to always remember that. And I think towards the end, Dr. Balaji also made that point, that happiness, why are we looking for it all over the world? And why are we going outside, here and there, and actually wondering about, looking for happiness? Happiness is an inside job. It's within us. But then again, we need to train our mind for that. And that is something that we need to really practice, and it will come from within. So I will just take you through these a few points of mine. Will I be able to share my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, let me try. Yes, I think I can. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so this is a little bit, I don't need to focus on this. I'll come straight to positivity. Be patient. Where there is love, good things will grow. The most important thing is our breath. I breathe in and know that good things will happen. Breath is the power behind all things. The pandemic has made us, many of us, very negative. For everything, we have a negative. We always say, oh my God, this has happened. Now, what if this will happen? Oh, disaster, fiasco, hell, fury, anger, depression. Why do we think of all these words? I mean, why can't we try to be cool? Again, like I said, it's about training your mind. Train your mind towards positivity. It doesn't take too much. It just takes, and nobody's going to come and do it for you. That's another thing that we need to keep in mind. We have to work on our positivity, which comes from within, like happiness. And if we're happy from within, then the positivity anyway will come. And, things will be wonderful. So for this, I just want you all to, whenever you're free, do a little activity. Keep a jar of positivity in front of you on your workstation. All of us have a workstation. I always keep a jar of positivity. I don't have it yet in front of me. I would have shown it to you. And in that positive jar, put little post-its of all the good things that have happened to you, or all the good things that make you smile, that make you happy. Maybe a good friend's name, maybe something that you got which made you happy, your children, your family, your friend, one special friend of yours, some special event that happened in your life, anything, fill your jar of positivity. When you start putting good things inside this, in the form of little slips on which you write those good things, you will be amazed at the kind of positivity that you feel within yourself. You will realize that your jar within no time will just get filled up. It will not remain an empty jar. It will actually fill up. Just remember, positivity is the key. Then, there are certain routines that we need to remember. Meditations, affirmations, me time. The pandemic, because we are always chasing time. Again, we're chasing time and we're forgetting about ourselves. This is something that is important. I want you to just have a look at this picture. When we look at this, there is a beautiful sunrise happening. So, if you can just close your eyes in any part of the day, whenever you get up, if you can do it, then very good. If you cannot do it, then even then I would say very good. Whenever you have time, just close your eyes. If you can see a beautiful image like this, when you get up in the morning, because some of us are early risers and we get up in the morning, just go outside to your balcony, in your park, in your garden, and just look at the rising sun, the sunrise. The kind of power that you derive from it is something which is amazing. We perhaps, all of us know this. We know it. I'm not saying that we don't know it. We all know it, but we've forgotten. We forget about it. We need to be reminded that we need to, there are certain things in life that can still make us feel powerful from within. And again, can actually help us in training our mind. And the pandemic has actually, given rise to these kind of feelings that we're always rushing against time, preparing presentations, connecting, sending messages and emails and everything. But what happens to our own time? What happens to the beautiful things that are waiting for us to admire them? So if you cannot just look at the sunrise early in the morning, just close your eyes and think of a beautiful thing that comes to your mind and just look at it and smile. I think that is not too much. By way of meditation, just 1 minute, close your eyes early in the morning, take deep breaths and exhale, and just think of a beautiful thing that comes to your mind. It could be a beautiful flower. It could be your child. It could be your grandchild. It could be a friend. It could be a beautiful place that you visited. It could be something that just put a smile on your face, some sight. I don't know. All of us have different things, and that's okay. We all have so don't let anybody, control you, control your mind. So think of something beautiful and just remember it and let that thing put a smile on your face, and then begin your day with. I always feel it's a good idea to do a lot of journaling. That's why I've kept this, diary and a pen. And believe me, the best ideas come to us at any point of time. So I say, keep a little diary, maybe a little notepad and a pen with you, always handy, because what happens is after a while you forget. You do think that, oh my God, I had come up with this brilliant idea, but now I've suddenly forgotten this brilliant idea. So when you have a brilliant idea attack you, I don't say attack you positively, please jot it down. And I think journaling about the good things that happen in our life is also something very positive. And you just need a little discipline in this. The way we have discipline about, eating something, or, going about our daily routines. I think this is something in our daily routine that we take for granted, but we should actually do. So it's a good idea if all of you could get into this habit. And these are some positive affirmations. I think we all know about positive affirmations. Let's talk to ourselves. It's a good idea talking to yourself. Talk to yourself, but talk to yourself positively. Just think about the good strengths that you have. All of us have fantastic strengths. And sometimes you don't even know the kind of strengths that we have within us, within ourselves. So if you could just bring out these strengths from within, talk to yourself, say, wow, I'm amazing. I've done a wonderful job. I connected with the most beautiful of person on this planet Earth. I made a beautiful friend today. My God, I learned so much. Why can't we just give ourselves self-talk? Why do we have to think that I didn't do this and I'm such a loser and this thing happened? Why was he so mean to me? Or why was she so nasty to me? Why do we think about this? And even now that we're online, we actually believe a lot in social media. We are on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. We're doing all this all the time. Sometimes, see, it's human nature. Sometimes we see something written and we feel hurt. But why do we feel hurt? Take it as a positive feedback and move on. Always talk to yourself positively. Find time. I mean, you're commuting, you're going from one room to the next, or you have a little break, coffee time, you're sipping your coffee and thinking about, wow, I'm wonderful. I'm enjoying life. I'm so happy. I'm a positive person. I can do wonders with the kind of half an hour. Wow, I have a lot of time. I can do amazing things in this 30 minutes. This is my time. Please try it out. For your mental health, this kind of a mental calisthenics is very therapeutic as well as very rejuvenating. And this is something that you need. Physical health, yes, yoga and exercise and calisthenics and aerobics will all help us, and weightlifting and weight training, it will help us. But what about our mental health? We also need to feel good. Once you're feeling good, you will start feeling better automatically. So it's something that we really need to look into, our mental health. We need to be positive. We need to express ourselves. That's why I say, do a lot of self-talk. Even if you don't have anybody to talk to yourself. Talk to your journal. Write something in your journal and talk to yourself. Write a power affirmation and just while writing it, talk to yourself. It's very important that we do this talk. Otherwise, we'll completely forget this communication. And communication is a powerful tool. It's the best tool. If any kind of problem any kind of problem, be it at the workplace, be it at the family, the only way to solve it is through the power of positive communication. I hope I'm not sounding too preachy. I'm just reminding you. From my side, this is more like as a reminder. I would like all of you to be in the best of health, not only physically, but also mentally. Because I've lost so many of my friends, and so many of my friends have become a victim of depression. You know, because they're getting into these kind of tendencies where they feel that they're no good in life, they're not achieving anything in life. And I just reminded them of these simple things. Yes, I'm not saying 100% they improve, but yes, some of them did. So, you know, it is very important that if we have a friend who needs someone to just talk to, if we can just be there for that person, I think we're doing a big thing. We don't have to, you know, spend loads and loads of money. The only thing that we need to give is our time, our care to people that we really care for. I think this is something that we need to keep in mind. So moving on, again, this is all positive talk for our own selves. But the most important part is something when I talk about a mindset. This is something that Dr. Balaji also talked about when he was talking about mindset and happiness and all that. You know, it's just a mind, age, height, weight, whatever is happening, what you have, what you don't have. This is all a mindset. So it's like that glass of water, that age-old thing that we say. You can either say that I only have a glass of water, or you can say I have a glass of water. So, you know, it is all about a mindset. But what is more important over here is what I'm going to be talking about now, which is a growth mindset. You know, once your mindset changes, everything on the outside will also change with it. And what I'm going to actually be talking to you about is a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is when you're stubborn, you don't want to improve, you take things negatively, everything is negative for you. But what is a growth mindset? When you can see the positive in that. Like, for example, the pandemic happened. All of us as educators, as teachers, we rose to the occasion. How we rose to the occasion? We immediately came from offline, we came online. And when we came online, we suddenly reminded ourselves that, you know, digital education is not that bad after all. We can do so much even digitally. We completely revolutionized the educational scenario thanks to digitalization of education. So if we could have a growth mindset then, why cannot we continue with this growth mindset? So, you know, there are many times when we say certain things to ourselves, you know, when we have a fixed mindset and we say certain things like, I always struggle with. Yeah, so that is a fixed mindset. You know, when you don't want to change, when you just take the negative in everything that comes your way. What happens about the growth mindset? Think about that. I always struggle with. What would a growth mindset say? A growth mindset would say, yeah, I'm enjoying myself while I'm learning. You're learning over here, my friends. You're not struggling. You're learning. Think about that. Think about the new things that you're learning. You know, there was this little thing that happened to me today. I was trying to do something. I couldn't put my slides into a PPT. And my husband says, you know, why don't you do this? He gave me a few tips. I said, okay. I mean, first, my instant reaction was, I don't have time. I don't want to do this. I cannot. But then I thought to myself, you know, have a growth mindset, do it and you'll probably get it. So that's what we need to do with ourselves. We need to keep on talking to ourselves and we need to encourage ourselves because, you know, nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to encourage yourself all the time in order to move forward. I can't learn now. I mean, don't think about your age, 50, 40, 30, whatever age you are at, you know, or even more or less. Learning is a lifelong process. You always learn. One always learns, you know, to strive, to seek, to find, but never to yield. Always learn. Have that mindset. Don't say, I cannot learn now. Say, I'm going to learn this. It might take a little time, but I'm going to do it. That's the growth mindset. That's what we all need to remind. We all have it somewhere hidden inside us. But, you know, sometimes what we do is, like I said, we let the devil in us come out. We let the devil in us overpower us. And the angel in us gets subdued and goes to a side. And then, you know, again, we let the devil control us. But then again, I say, train your mind towards positivity, train your mind to, learn, train your mind towards a growth mindset. That is what we need to understand. That is what we need to develop. So there are loads of things, I can take feedbacks, personal attack. I mean, many of us cannot take a feedback positively. But then if we have a growth mindset, we'll say, all right, so this feedback has taught me this. I know it all. Never have a I know it all attitude. None of us can ever know it all. Okay, so we're constantly learning in life. I mean, one may have given 3 decades in an educational industry like me, but I cannot claim to know it all. I think I'm still learning. I'm learning from my young students as well. They teach me so much every day. I've been told I cannot. I mean, somebody tells you that you just cannot do this. That's again wrong. That's again a fixed mindset. You always believe in your growth mindset. Never let the devil in you overpower the angel in you. Simple things, very simple things, and it's all within us. We don't need to go here and there. We don't need anything hi-fi or tech in this case. It's just about training your mind. I always say that creativity is intelligence having fun. I think Einstein said this. So, we need to find time to do things that we really enjoy, whatever it is, be it singing, dancing, cooking, writing, singing, horticulture, pottery, art, painting, theater, whatever it is that we enjoy, we should do it. So like Dr. Balaji, he also said that happiness is a choice, positivity is a mindset. We need to worry less, we need to smile more. Don't regret, learn and grow. Don't say yes if you want to say no. Many times we take on too much on our platter, and that's where we go wrong. That's what upsets our mental health, because we've taken on too much and we cannot handle it, but at the same time, we don't want to say no, we get into trouble. And who is the one who's a loser over here? The one who takes on too much to handle. So nobody else but you yourself. If you have taken on too much to handle, then you, my dear friends, ladies, gentlemen, brothers, sisters, you are the ones who are responsible and nobody else. So we cannot pass on the buck to somebody else saying that you are the cause of my miseries or you are the cause of my misfortune. No, it's us, ourselves, because of our mindset. So the creator of my own. Strong people do not have attitudes, they have standards. The world's a better place because of you. Each of us make the world a better place to live in, in our own way, by extending our strengths in order to work towards humanitarian projects. So My Chill Parkour International, we're working towards humanitarianism. So be it through education, be it through women empowerment, be it through youth empowerment, be it through children empowerment, child empowerment. We just need to collaborate with our unique strengths in order to make the world a better place, because each and every one of us has a uniqueness in us, which we can use not only for our own selves, because we are unique, we know that we're unique, so we're confident about it, but also to help our global friends, our global community, and making the world a much better place to live in. So throw stress away. Keep going. Don't look back. You are not going that way again. You only have to move forward in life. Have attitudes of gratitude, And another thing that we have too many expectations. We think that somebody is going to help us in this. I cannot make a presentation for myself. I cannot make a video for myself. Why don't you learn it then? This is the time to learn something new. Plus, mentally, you will remain alert and you will remain strong, and you would have learned something in the process. So, life is always about rediscovering, reinventing. The pandemic has taught us that nothing can come to a standstill. Life does not come to a standstill. And necessity is definitely the mother of invention. All these age-old things that we've been listening to and we had forgotten, all those have come to our rescue now. But the thing is, we forget about them and we become stressed and we take on too much. We're running. Again, we're running. Even online, we are running. I think we also need to be a little mindful of the kind of things that we're doing. And we need to just take a breather or Alternatively, set aside some portions in our day, in our daily day routine, to give to ourselves. And it's not being selfish. Let me tell you that. Giving some time to yourself in a day is not being selfish, because then you will not feel stressed. And you will do a favor not only to yourself, but you will do a favor to your friends, your family, your professional circle. You will do a favor to them as well. Because if you're unwell, you would not like to go for a session that you have promised that you will take. You will not like to meet your friends online if you're not feeling well. So you have to remember to keep yourselves mentally relaxed. And now let's take a little quiz, so if you have a paper and pen in hand, then you can do it. Otherwise, you can just take a mental note. I hope all of you, and this will also tell me, are we all ready for this? Just give me a thumbs up. Just give use the chat box, or just give me that sign of a thumbs up that yes, you're listening to me and you are ready to take this little test, which will tell you whether you're stressed or you're not stressed. Not stressed generally doesn't happen, but yes, you could be a little bit stressed, and that could be taken care of. How? I will also tell you that. So are we ready? Just give me a thumbs up. I will not start until you give me a thumbs up. Great. Let me check. I am when it comes to this, I'm very, very particular. I'm going to actually have a look and see the thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So here goes. Let's reflect. And these are the 3 questions I posed to you. How often have you been upset because of something unexpected? Is it always? Is it sometimes? Or maybe? Or is it never? So you can think about it. Next, how often do you feel unable to control the important things in your life? Is it always? Is it sometimes? Or is it never? Well, if you ask me, I would say that sometimes I am unable to control the important things in my life. I feel that I should do it in a different way, but then I feel a little helpless because maybe I haven't given it too much thought. So you have to think like this. Then again, how often do you feel nervous and stressed? Is it always? Are you always nervous and stressed? Are you sometimes nervous or stressed? Or are you never nervous or stressed? Well, that would be wow. But I don't think we have that. But maybe you could be on the second one, the middle way. So next set of 3 questions. How often do you feel a lack of confidence about handling personal problems? How often do you feel that things are not going well for you? How often do you feel you cannot cope with all the things you have to do? Sometimes this happens with me. I feel that I cannot cope. But then I talk to myself and then I say to myself that I'm going to do it. Come what may, I'm going to do it. But it doesn't happen instantly. I need to work on myself. So I'm sure some of you would be going through the same. How often are you able to control the things that irritate you? How often do you feel on top of things? How often have you been angry because of things outside of your control? Many times during the pandemic, I've noticed people, they're losing their cool. Why? Because they don't have an outlet for expression. They don't have an outlet for expressing themselves positively. That is why I say, talk to yourselves, write a journal, positive affirmations. And now, here are the results. I'm sure all of you must have gotten an answer to how the levels of your stress and all. So if you've said always to most of the questions that I asked, then you have maximum stress level. If it was a sometimes or a maybe, then you have moderate stress levels. But stress is still there, so you need to do something about it. And if it is never, then low stress levels, negligible, but again, you need to do a little bit about it. You need to continue with the good practices. So now, how can you improve on controlling your stress levels? I will give you this word. I will give you a plan. P-L-A-N. What is P? P is a period for productivity. L is a location for taking a break. A is an activity that you enjoy. And N, name of people that you could talk to. Now let's go to P, period for productivity. Now see, all of us have different cycles. Some of us like to get up in the morning early and spend some time with ourselves, enjoy our cup of coffee early in the morning, relax, read a book, maybe 2-3 pages of a coffee table book, plan our day, write a to-do list. Some of us like to do it early in the morning. So you feel that that's the time when you're very productive. Some of us are late night birds like me. The best ideas I feel come to me at night, and I write them all down, and in the morning I share it with my friends. So that's okay. It's okay. I mean, I know that mostly psychologists and mostly people, scientists and everybody says that, but I think there are different, more researchers have come to this. I don't have the data now, otherwise I would have shared it with you, which says it's okay. Any part of the day is okay. As long as you feel that your mind is functioning well, you are feeling good, and the best ideas are coming to your mind. The best ideas, all of us have different times for this kind of thing. So think of that time in your day and set it aside for yourself so that you plan your day well and you have a day that is really productive and you feel very confident about yourself, because when you feel confident about yourself, you will be mentally happy. And if you're mentally happy, physically also you'll feel good. You know what? So you won't have problems of, finding the right medicines, going to doctors, because you'll anyway be feeling good. You'll be feeling good internally. You'll be feeling good on the outside as well. Now, L, location for taking a break. I have this little corner in my home where I have a rocking chair, and I like to sit on that rocking chair when I plan or when I think. Or I have this little couch where I plan and think. So all of us have this place. You could have a little bench in a park which is close to your home. You would like to go and sit there and think and just talk to yourself. That's the best thing to do. So you need to find out that location and you need to spend some time in that location. Then A is an activity. You remember I said creativity is intelligence, having fun. So any activity that you enjoy doing, be it writing, be it singing, be it dancing, be it gardening, be it cooking, be it painting, be it, embroidery, anything, theater, whatever you enjoy doing, which just makes you feel happy. Maybe making something out of waste material. If that makes you feel happy, go ahead and do it. Cleaning your home, decluttering your cabinets, giving your wardrobe a makeover, giving your home a makeover. Anything that makes you feel good, spend time doing it every day. Every day. Every day. Remember, the key word is every day. It's just about self-discipline. And N, name of a person you could talk to. Like Dr. Balaji said that we just have 1 or 2 people. But I'm sure if every day what you should do is actually pick up your phone, talk to a person, or if the person lives nearby and you haven't met the person in ages, just go and meet that person. So N is the name of a person that you can talk to. Or just think of a friend, a family member, a relative that you haven't talked to in ages. So, you plan about that and connect with that person. So find time to talk to a friend also. All this is a little plan that I had for all of you. PLAN. This will keep your mental health rearing, always active. There will always be a smile on your face, like I can see, I mean, I can only see Dr. Beatrice over there. She's smiling. And let me see if I can see more people on the video mode. Well, no, I cannot, but I'm sure if you're listening to me, you're smiling. Oh, there, I see the lovely, oh my God, you've got a beautiful smile. Your smile is beautiful, beautiful, absolutely. Lovely, it's so good, smiling is contagious. And when we share smiles with one another, I think it's Dr. Kavita. Dr. Kavita, your smile. I think I heard you in one webinar. I think it was with Queen Nadia's platform. And my God, you have this amazing smile. So I think this is what it is.
Thank you.
Dr. Beatrice, Dr. Kavita, amazing smile. I think this is how we can win the world, wow the world. Little things to do, nothing much. It's not a tall order, and it's not even rocket science. Perhaps you've heard of these things million of times, but just as a reminder, plan. Remember, plan in your mind and just go for it. And remember, attitudes of gratitude. I think this is something that really makes the world beautiful. Keep on complimenting people, keep on talking to people, because expression, I feel, is the most powerful tool. When we connect with someone, it makes us feel happy. And it's only these little things in life that, keep our sanity intact, and we do not feel that, life has gone haywire, or life is not beautiful, or, I don't have this and I don't have that. Be happy with what you have. You will be amazed at the kind of things that you have. It's a treasure that you have. Like I said, that jar of positivity will help you in that. Keeping a diary will help you. And remembering PLAN will always help. So I will stop my share now. And if somebody wants to ask something, feel free. Let's share, because I feel that talking about something will always, add to. We always learn from one another. So I think that helps. So if there is somebody who would like to ask me a question, please do that.
Okay.
Otherwise, a big thank you. And muito obrigada. Muchas gracias. Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Wonderful
Thank you.
Portuguese.
I just know this. But
Dr.
thank you.
Alka,
Awesome.
I would like to thank you a lot for your participation, and I would like to say that you are the personification of energy and positivity, and you are the kind of person who can change the day of the others, and you have so much light, and you taught us so much things today that was wonderful. The importance to keep our mental health and to train our minds to be positive. And the sentence that is in my mind is, the things are not going to get easier, you need to get stronger. So thank you very much for all your thoughts today. They helped a lot. Dr. Beatriz is very happy here, clapping her hands for you.
Thank you. She's a wonderful human being. I just adore her.
Yes, you are too. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go ahead. Let's moving on here. I will introduce our next speaker now. She was smiling on the screen too, as you could see. She is Dr. Kavita. She is internationally acclaimed inspirational speaker, known as the Happiness Woman, counseling psychologist, psychotherapist, psychometric test professional, teacher trainer, QPR gatekeeper trainer for suicide prevention, social activist for world peace and happiness. She have counseled women and adolescents voluntarily on happiness till 2021 March under the title Happiness is Your Birthright. She has been recognized as one of the top 10% of HR and leadership professionals who are building their professional competency by Middle Earth and Carleton Advanced Management Institute in the United States. She has been nominated for the prestigious Distinguished Contribution Award by American Psychologists Association for the year of 2018 for the contribution towards improvement of disabled society, among many other things that I can say now because of the time. So Dr. Kavita, the floor is yours, and thanks for coming, okay?
Thank you so much. I would first like to thank Dr. Hari Krishna for putting me here, and also would like to thank the wonderful lady who has given my kind introduction. Well, I really don't have a presentation to call for because I do get deviated when I'm just watching something. I think I'm in a flow when I'm talking. If I'm on to some PPTs or something, unless until it is quite an academic stuff, I really don't use. I don't prefer using presentations. But I would really appreciate if everybody can put their videos on, because I'm as Ms. Alka just mentioned, I'm also a kind of a people person and would like to see the faces, because that really gives me immense joy and pleasure. I have been listening to Professor Balaji and Ms. Alka Mahajan and on the various aspects of like how this pandemic has changed the life situation of many, and then how do we really cope up with this situation. I think the first thing I really see, the pandemic has not really changed anything as per me. As per me, I think if you all remember, we just used to mindlessly, we used to ask each other, how are we doing? And quite often we used to mindlessly respond that we are fine. We never thought about if you're really fine or not. It is just like, how are you doing? So we say, I'm fine, I mean, there is nothing of an emotion. There is nothing of a seriousness into it. I think from that situation of mindlessness, I think we have been into a situation which is little challenging, with the situation which is definitely, which definitely needs a call for on a thought process. How do we really change the whole thing? So today, I thought I'm going to talk about what exactly has brought in the situation into us. Is it the pandemic? Or is it our inability or the unhealthy coping skills that we have been having for the past many years, which have been hardwired, or the previous speakers have just mentioned? Is it that negative mindset what we have as an evolutionary aspect that is actually causing all the trouble? I think this is the question I think I really like to ponder. I honestly have not thought of what I would be talking today. I think when I was listening to both the speakers, I thought I should be talking about this. This is a pickup from Ms. Alka Mahajan and then Professor Balaji, and thanks to both of them for giving me a thought process on what I should be talking about. So I mean, if we have to really ponder, why are we talking about crisis in such a huge magnitude? Are we talking about the crisis in such a huge magnitude because our inability to handle the situation, or we have unhealthy coping mechanisms, or because of a negative mindset that has been hardwired in us since generations? It might be quite surprising. It might be quite surprising to note that we all have a negative hardwired mindset. And as a psychologist, because it's a little thing I should definitely give a thought on, such that it becomes easy for us to move forward in understanding what I want to really talk of. Since generations, we all have been brought with an element of fear. Fear because of various factors. The fear due to death, or fear due to mutilation, or fear due to loss of autonomy, or fear due to separation, or fear due to losing the freedom. If you notice, any kind of anxiety, any kind of panic situation, what a human being is into is because of fears in one of these 5 categories. Probably if we talk about a person who has lost the job, there is a fear of like, how is a person going to how is a person going to face the society? Is a fear because how am I going to take care of my family? What would people think about me? The first fear that comes into a person is loss of self-esteem. Because I have been doing well and suddenly I don't have something. So what would people think about me now? And the second fear, with this infection, with this COVID infection, pandemic, with this situation, the death of someone, that is the fear. What will happen to me? Or some would have been separated from their loved ones, either because of death or either because of a breakup, because the certain situations are not happening the way it was otherwise happening. which was otherwise happening. So that could be another fear that is actually that can really come in, and few cases. So if we have to really understand, we all have been hardwired negatively. We first think about a negative thing that comes into existence because that is the only way we can survive. That is a survival instinct. That is a survival mechanism. Let us say that if COVID is not spoken about, and if we don't develop that emotion of fear in us, we would have been so cool about everything. We would have been so cool about everything. So the fear element, now the pandemic, the biggest experiment that has been done in the on a global platform, quarantining or between the four walls, or restricting between the four walls, has actually caused the real problem of mental ill health. It is not the loss of job. It is not the loss of all these things have caused to a certain extent. But the biggest thing is restricting between the four walls. This is something that has actually caused the real problem. So going ahead with my talk. So most of us, because we are negatively hardwired, and we are not taught a healthy coping mechanism at the home front. And at the home front, I can mention small things. Let us say that your kid, your kindergartner kid comes to you. You can just get back to your old memories. Your kindergartner kid who comes to you and says that the child has been upset because his pencil has been taken away. We say that nothing happens, that's okay. Or we either underlook the emotion of a child and we don't bother so much about it. Or there is some emotion wherein we don't teach a child that there is a problem. We don't validate the problem of a child. We don't validate the problem and the emotion of a child. And without validating the emotion and the problem of a child, we go ahead with what we think is okay. Because to our age, to the age what we are in now, the problem of a child is not a big problem. It is definitely not a big problem. It's a very small thing as per us, but to the child, it's a big thing. I remember a poem read long back. The poet says that when a king loses the throne and when a child loses the toy, the emotion is the same. It is not different. It is not different. The emotion or the impact on the child or on the king is almost the same. It is no different. But when we compare as adults, we feel losing a throne is much bigger when compared to losing a toy. But what we fail to understand is the emotion of a child is as big as the emotion of a king. This is the foundation on which I really want to take my talk on today. So in families, we don't really teach the healthy coping mechanism. We don't teach the healthy coping mechanisms in the family. And because we either underlook the things, because we feel to our age, to our experience, that thing of that child, of that person is small. It is not big. It is not big. We underlook that. So this pandemic has clearly reflected, as per me, the pandemic has clearly reflected our no training on the healthy coping mechanisms in the families. We have not taught our children. We have not taught the community. We have not developed this mechanism at all in the society. That is the reason why we feel that everything is so lost. We feel now there are so many webinars on mental health. This is a change that has come in, the change which nobody has witnessed so much before. And why are we so much worried about it? And even having the opportunities to do something, why we are not able to really develop the healthy coping mechanisms? And I have heard Professor Balaji and Ms. Alka talking about happiness. I talk about only happiness. Except happiness, I really do not know anything else. So when I have to talk about happiness, why are we talking about happiness now? Why do we remember happiness when there is a situation? Why aren't we remembering the happiness even otherwise? So now I'll go to the strategies on what exactly is the issue and why we feel so hopeless and helpless, and what the research states and why we are not able to really move ahead. One of the, as per many longitudinal studies that has been done recently across the globe, first thing that the problem has been created is through the lack of physical activity. The lack of physical activity. The lack of physical activity actually has created a lot of mental health issues among the people. This is the research that has been clearly stated, because again we are hardwired to see our success, we are hardwired to see what we are hardwired to measure our achievements only through an external society. I go out, I do a job, I teach, I come back, I'm successful today. I achieve something, I'm successful today. I scored better marks than others, I'm successful today. The whole element of happiness is more associated with the society. The more element is more associated with our achievements, that we fail to forget the fact that in a situation like this, we feel that we are not connected to the world, so we are lost somewhere. I come back to my happiness again here. When we really look into the element or the emotion of happiness, what we need to understand, the happiness in fact has an element of what can really satisfy you, and if you are in a flow when you're doing some work, and if that happiness can be brought in by seeing within the given limitations what is the best you can do within the given limitations. But because during this pandemic, as we started associating ourselves with the outside things much more, we feel helpless, and we feel that we are caught and stuck up within the four walls. So what do we do now? There is a concept called the cabin fever. When I say cabin fever, this pandemic has brought in the cabin fever. Staying inside, we've been almost, we have restricted ourselves between the four walls for almost 2 years now. So some of us are feeling restless, some of us are anxious, some of us are depressed, some of us are quite bored, and some of us feel that there is no purpose in life. And what we have failed to forget here, that we are only isolated. We are still connected. Just because we are not able to move out of that physical space, or we are not able to roam, or we are not able to move out freely, we start thinking we are not connected. That is the first cognitive distortion, or the cognitive error, or error in the thinking process, that we need to first remove. We need to first remove the error that we are isolated. We are just isolated, but we are connected. We are connected. We have social media, we have social contact, we have, thanks to technology, that we are still connected to the people across the globe. We are across the globe. The moment we remove the fact that we are not feeling alone, because the first mental health issues start cropping in the moment we start thinking we are alone. We are not alone. We are physically alone, but we are connected. We are connected. I think the moment we start thinking that we are connected despite that isolation, we start thinking positive about ourselves. And the second most important thing, what I see is like, how do we build the healthy coping mechanisms? But before that, I would also like to address a specific issue. Scheduling a worrying time. You might wonder, because of that negative mindset, we often keep thinking about that one negative thing that has happened to us in a day, and fail to forget and fail to remember the positive things that are happening throughout the day. The positive things could be anything. It could be right from you are first alive in the morning. That is the first positive thing. Not many people can be alive the moment they wake up the next morning. You wake up alive, you are breathing still. That is the first positive thing that you can think of. The second positive thing, probably you had a good meal, a great meal which you've been planning to prepare since long. That could be the second best positive thing. And the third best positive thing probably could be you're hearing to some birds chirping in the sky. Probably the third best positive thing. fourth best positive thing probably is a beautiful fragrance that is coming from the flowers from your garden. That could be the fourth positive thing. So when you start noticing, when you start using all the five senses, you would notice that there are innumerable positive things that are happening to you in a day. And why are you so much worried about that one negative thing that is happening to you? One negative thing. So this pandemic has definitely taught us how to create a positive mindset, or how do we really create a positively hardwired mindset, which otherwise we are a negatively hardwired mindset. So I would say that schedule a worrying time. Schedule a worrying time. This might look so surprising, but what we have to understand, all of us in a day, let us schedule a 15 minutes time to worry. That's the whole job. During that worrying time, just sit and start worrying. If you want to cry, cry. Or if you want to write notes, you write notes. If you want to crib on you crib. If you want to curse, you curse. If you want to be angry, be angry. But have this 15 minutes of worrying time in a day. And whenever this negative thoughts keep coming to you again and again, pat yourself, stop yourself, and tell yourself that this is worry time is somewhere in the evening, not now. Not now. Now I need to focus on my work, not on the worry. So have a specific time such that all your worries can be translated to a specific time in the evening. All your worries can be translated to a specific time in the evening. And whenever the thoughts come in, remind yourself you have a time in a day. You have a time in a day to worry. And don't make all the time the worry time. As how we have a lunch time, a meal time, a dinner time, the same way you need to schedule a worry time. You need to schedule a worry time. Pour all your worries during that time, and don't bring the worries during any other time. That is one of the biggest strategies that has really worked with many youngsters, the youngsters like whom I have been counseling since long. So schedule this. And second most important strategy, the coping mechanism, understand what you can control and what you cannot control. What you can control and what you cannot control. Pandemic is something you cannot control, but what you can control is your movement in that. Death is something you cannot control, but what you can control is the feelings that are associated with that. The feelings, what you can associate with that. And so start understanding, start thinking the areas what you can control and what you cannot control. What you can control, try to get away from that. Let us say something is bothering you, some person is bothering you. Don't try to be with the person, stay away from the person. If an emotion is bothering you, if a feeling is bothering you, now I'll tell you how to have a strategy to cope up with the feelings, with the negative feelings that are predominating you. The first thing is, whenever you have a feeling, whenever there is a negative thought that is on the mind, start thinking about a situation in your life, wherein you faced a problem of worry and how you came out of it. What did you do? What was your behavior? How did you behave? Was the problem solved because you are worrying all the time? Or was the problem solved because you did something? What was that? What was that? Start working on that. Because whenever you do, what really happens when you are in a problem? When you are in a problem, the problem appears so big that you appear so small. When you appear so small, you feel helpless. You feel, I can't do anything. I'm lost somewhere. And that is where you're all to yourself. That is the basic reason for depression. The depression comes in because of that. So the moment when you face a problem like this, start thinking about a previous situation in your life when you face something similar like this, and how did you overcome that? How did you overcome that? That is the first thing that you should be doing. And second thing, when you start thinking, there is a confidence that yes, I did face something like this earlier. I did come. And we call this strategy as an ABC strategy. A is the antecedent, like the whole situation. Start writing the whole situation, what really happened. And B is the behavior. How did you behave in that situation? And C is the consequence. The most important thing we have to understand, most of the problems, we don't claim the ownership of the problem. We don't claim the ownership of the problem. We say he is bad, she is bad, situation is bad. But was my behavior responsible to a certain extent that I'm suffering like this? The moment we start thinking like this, we get a greater opportunity to really change the situation. to change the situation, to change the behavior. The moment the behavior is changed, the consequences obviously changes. The consequences obviously changes. I think with this little strategies, and the third most important thing, whenever you feel low, whenever you feel stressed out, whenever you feel that I'm helpless, I'm hopeless, the first important thing that reflects is on your body language. You are stooping your shoulders, or you become like this. You're not. You're the whole cortisol. It is in your body. The whole cortisol hormone is in your body. What you need to do is just put your hands on your hips. Put your hands on your waist, throw your chest out, put your shoulders out, and breathe for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. There is a study that has been done in Harvard University, If you practice this for 2 minutes, the testosterone levels increase in the body. When they increase in the body, it is related to the confidence that you can do something, you can achieve something in life. And I think with these small strategies, I would call this end of my talk. And thank you so much for this opportunity. And it's been such a pleasure talking to you all. Thank you.
Dr. Kavita, how precious were your speech today? You explained it so well, the roots of the fear, and the sentence, very important, when a king loses a throne and a child loses the toy, is the same emotion that they feel, right? We cannot minimize the things. And an important question that you made was, why do we just remember to talk about happiness when we are in difficult times, right? And you reminded well that we are just isolated, but we are connected as we are today. And it was a great pleasure to have you here. And Dr. Beatriz is saying here that we hope we can be together other times, because it was wonderful. I just need to thank you a lot because we learned a lot. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Now, I would like to clap my hands for Kavita first. Then I will move on and I will introduce our last speaker of the day. He is Dr. G. Harikrishnan. He is currently working as a principal at Holy Grace Engineering College in Kerala, a determined undergraduate in electronics and communication engineering, also a postgraduate in remote sensing, wireless sensor networks. Let me continue here. Completed MBA in marketing management, completed doctorate degree in communication and networking engineering, award winner for the title Distinguished Engineer 2019 by an international professional society in Malaysia, involved in several student-centric academic development programs, and conducted several training programs based on effective student-centric teacher, learning process involved in career guidance and mind-building counseling activities. And he has a channel on YouTube with some videos now with great content about psychology that I have already watched it, and it's very good. So Dr. Harikrishnan, it's a pleasure to have you here, and the floor is yours. We can hear you.
Yeah, good evening all.
Okay.
So thank you for your kind introduction. Actually, today we are going for the discussion on psychology. So from starting, I was hearing the discussion from Dr. Balaji regarding the opportunities and the trends associated with this after pandemic effect. Then to Ms. Maria regarding the plan, the meaning of plan, how we can, all these attributes regarding plan. And finally, Dr. Kavita about happiness, the state of happiness. So now, my topic of discussion would be decision making. So we are having a lot of ideas post pandemic and after pandemic, before pandemic also, and still this situation is prevailing. and we don't know when what is going to happen in the near future also. Lot of transformation or a lot of change in situations may happen, not only in industry, but also in various other service sector like tourism, education, etc. So how we can make a quick decision, a good decision, which make us happy, which make us satisfied, which make us, I mean, it should have all the characteristics, a good decision. So it will be the matter of discussion. So let me start from the beginning. We had discussed some of the opportunities associated or the change in trend associated with this pandemic situation, like the digital revolution, the market change. So we all know now the technological revolution is actually the building block or the foundation. With the help of the technology only we are able to communicate. So the huge revolution in technology will be going to happen, and it's going on its phase. There will be electric vehicles coming up. The traditional diesel engine, petrol engine will be changing. We are going for renewable energy. So all this evolution and transformation is happening. More or less now everything is going to be on a computer based. So the demand of computer engineering or artificial intelligence, machine learning, or so-called the sub branches will be on high demand. So that is a case of technology and the employability associated with technology also. And as Dr. Balaji has mentioned, in the medical sector or the service sector, everything will be assisted with the help of technology. But whenever more power, more responsibility will be there. More we are using technology, more will be the stress, or less will be our emotional quotient or emotional stability. So how we will create the situation of happiness or the situation of satisfaction or self-satisfaction. I am adding the title self-satisfaction, because now we are trying to make our society satisfied or the other person satisfied. But actually, are we really satisfied doing something, learning something, eating something? Our interests keep on changing. So during this pandemic situation, what is my observation is that the stress level is more. All are short-tempered. We need to get everything. I mean, we are actually undergoing a boredom situation. So the decision making plays a vital role, and how the decision can be implemented. Making a decision is easy, but implementing that is difficult task. For example, during this pandemic, we undergo a lot of financial crisis all over the global wise. There are recessions are there. Many of them has lost their job. The business, we are facing some difficulties. So at that situation, what decision we have to move forward? Whatever may be happening, whether it is bad or good, we have to move forward. So we had seen that change in trend. I had recently read in newspaper that general manager of a hotel in Cochin has started selling fish on roadside, because the situation demands like that. We need to move forward. So like that, many people are coming down or changing their platform in order to move forward. There comes the decision, and that decision is getting a lot of importance on a social platform also. So this decision making will be a vital topic of discussion on psychology after this pandemic. And I hope that starting from the school level to a university level, whether it is family, whether it is business, whatever it may be, that decision is going to have a vital role. And while taking a decision, we must forecast several things. Nowadays, we know while buying something or by investing something, we are looking for a forecasted plan. So the psychology is going to have a great impact on the decision making in the coming after this post-pandemic situation. So I think such platforms like this is deviating our decision into new decisions from the existing decisions, molding it into a different dimension or creating something new from the existing one. And such topic of discussion must gain interest on a public platform also. So something we are doing, it should be unique and it must be useful for the society. And recently we had seen in Kerala, it is happening quite common. The crime rate is increasing, the suicidal rate is increasing. What is the reason? We are all discussing the topic. Even years after years, the crime rate is not coming down, or the stress level is not coming down. What is the reason? The reason is within ourselves. We must have a self-realization to attain self-satisfaction, which will lead to good health and good well-being. So I'm just concluding with this small content-wise discussion, like putting a spark to think over much more and to get an elaborate thinking in ourselves rather than giving a one-side lecture. This is my topic of interest, and I'm sharing my thought of our well-being after this pandemic and during this pandemic. And whatever we are doing, we must forecast, and ourselves we have to have a self-awareness or a self-assessment regarding this. So thank you for organizing this and inviting me. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you all.
Thanks, Dr. Hari Krishnan, for your great insights about self-satisfaction. How can I find that? How can we create that? And how to take decisions in difficult times regarding to psychology. So it was a very interesting lecture. Thank you very much for being here. All right. So now we are going to close our section of today. And I'm really sure that our proposal here is completed, because all the speakers in a brilliant way showed us many solutions and forms to reborn after COVID-19. Thanks a lot for Dr. Alka Mahajan for her insights. Thank Dr. B. Balaji. Thanks a lot, Dr. Kavita, Dr. Hari Krishnan, for being here today and for enlightening our first Lotus webinar with your amazing insights. You can be sure that your wisdom and your words will be an echo around the world. Thank God for the ones who share knowledge and bring light for our minds. Thank you very much for participating, and we hope, Dr. Beatriz, hope we can join together in another opportunity. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Does anyone want to say something before we say bye-bye? So, bye-bye. See you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you a lot for your presence. It was a great webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.